Welcome to Travel in 20, your weekly passport to travelling like a pro. I'm Jacqui Falgate, and each week I'll be joined by travel insiders to uncover their top tips in just 20 minutes. Today on Travel in 20, we take off to Fiji with Eugene, one of Luxury Escape's experts, and find out why this island paradise is a picture-perfect destination for everyone, not just for families. Eugene, you're a bit of a Fiji expert, aren't you?
I mean, that's a really nice title to have, to be a Fiji expert. I feel blessed to even think that someone thinks that. But yeah, I spent a fair bit of time there. Love the destination, love the people. It's got a very soft spot in my heart, that's for sure.
When we think Fiji, particularly as Australians, we often think family holiday, but that's really not the case, is it?
I don't think so. I mean, of course, it's amazing for families. It's a no-brainer, right? But I think there's so much more to Fiji that I've sort of explored, as someone that doesn't have kids. And there's such an incredibly ultra-luxurious part of Fiji that's kind of undiscovered, I guess. People don't know it's there. It's on Australia's doorstep.
Speaking of doorstep,
yes,
easy flights.
Easy.
Quick.
So quick. I think it was less than 5 hours from Melbourne direct when I went that way. I've also been from Brisbane, which was 3 hours. Nothing, right? Like you can pretty much fly from Melbourne to Brisbane in 2.5 hours. It's just another half an hour. It's crazy.
I like the idea in a Melbourne winter, just to nip across for a couple of hours.
Long weekend. Yeah. You could literally do it for, 4 days, 4 nights, and it's an easy thing to do. And it's great.
Luxury Escapes makes it really easy as well because you can package up the whole thing.
100%.
Takes all the stress out of it.
Not just the flights, the accom, the transfers, the activities. It's one of those places that, yes, it is. You can do the typical flop and drop holiday that we hear so much about at Luxury Escapes, but you can also go and explore so much of Fiji. And again, I think that's a bit of a misconception that people think that Fiji is just a place where you go and stay in a hotel. You can go and explore so much out there.
Okay, so we'll get to the islands or the outlying islands a little later in the podcast. But I want to start, when we talk about that maybe 4-day weekend, a really good way to do that is perhaps at somewhere like the Sheraton.
Definitely. I think Sheraton, all of those properties in Denarau, and Nandi as well, they're super close. You basically fly into Nandi, stay in the Nandi area, or you can go, a 30-minute car ride away to Denarau. And the Sheraton is one that I've stayed at. It is very much family friendly, and there's a huge pool, children's playground. It's quite a massive property. They've actually just done a refurb recently, and it's stunning. It's a really nice big property, but again, the thing that I love about Fiji is the hospitality there, and something you find at the Sheraton is it's just like having a family sort of welcoming you there. They do these drums when you arrive, and it's a really nice atmosphere. It is a big resort, but it still feels intimate at the same time when you're there. The closeness and the proximity to the airport, it's a no-brainer for families, right? It's a 30-minute car ride after a 3 or 4 or 5 hour flight.
Because the last thing I want to be doing is hiking
transiting,
for 8 hours somewhere.
Totally. Yeah. No, it's super easy, very clean, and it's right on the water there as well. A really great location with great food. Great drinks.
Activities as well in a resort like that too.
Definitely.
If you're a more active family or couple, or even if you're on your own.
Yeah.
How do we pass the time if we don't just want to sit by the pool?
Totally, which a lot of people don't want to do these days. And, there's an amazing golf course in Denarau as well that a lot of people like to do. Some people play golf, some people have drinks in the golf club.
That's me.
Either or, it works really well.
Yes.
So you can kind of drop the kids off at the kids club and go play golf for a few hours. You can go and do some water sports, some hiking. You can even go into, the local areas of Nandi or Denarau and see local families, or, check out the shops there. They're amazing. The culture that you see and feel there in those areas it's really bespoke and really unique to that area, and really lovely as well.
Do you think it's something we should all make sure we add to our itinerary
100%.
To actually get out of the resort for
Always.
the day and see how the locals live?
Definitely. I think any country you travel to, it's so nice to explore that, especially from a food perspective. I'm a massive foodie. I'm pretty sure you are as well.
We are, so yes.
Going to explore any sort of local cuisine like that and local tradition is always really nice. And, it's one thing to stay in a nice hotel, but you want to experience that area and what the people themselves experience and why they want to show that off to the world. And Fiji really delivers that as a location.
When I went to Fiji, we stayed at the Intercon, also a Luxury Escapes hotel, but we actually booked the kids into Kids Club for a couple of days, and they did a school tour.
Oh, awesome.
So they went into the little village and they actually went down and learnt about the school there. And Beautiful. I thought that was really lovely for them to understand that, we're not just living in this resort here.
Yes.
There's a whole community just down the road, and
100%.
you should see how different it is to the way you live in Melbourne.
Totally. And
it's
it
really
brings
great
that
to do
really
that.
nice perspective, I think, at any age to see that. You don't have to be a kid to see that and understand that. I think that's such a nice thing to be able to bring to someone. That authentic experience, when you go to Italy, you want to cook with the nonnas, or, when you go to Fiji, you want to be seeing that authentic experience with the families. And it's really hard to not put emphasis on how lovely the Fijian people are.
I was going to say, I don't want to have favourites, but the
Right.
Fijian people
they're
are probably
so
the nicest
nice,
people
and they're
I've
so
ever met.
welcoming and so sweet, and give you these big hugs, and everyone's smiling
love
all the
children.
time.
Yeah.
And again, I don't have kids, but I've traveled with friends that do have kids, and the nanny service is amazing. And you can leave the kids to play in those playrooms, and it's just such a fantastic experience. So
Agreed.
it makes a big difference.
But we did want to highlight in this particular episode as well that while Fiji is wonderful for families, there's a lot more to the country, especially if you want that luxe holiday.
Yeah.
So you've actually been to a couple of properties. So Six Senses is one that if you want that luxury experience, you really get there.
Yeah, definitely. Six Senses is an incredible property. I don't know if you've stayed in any Six Senses around the world, but they're sort of known for that really luxurious.
I'd like to.
Yeah, really luxurious feel, but they also have a really great wellness and sustainability. And also they're quite focused on health and wellness as a brand. And you can really see that at the property. I think that you can tell that they've spent a lot of time curating the menu and, making sure that there's an incredible spa there. There's fitness, there's, ice plunge pools, there's saunas, alongside the relaxation side of it too. You can actually, again, shameless plug here, check it out on the Fiji episode of Luxury Escapes TV on Foxtel Binge and 10 Play.
Why wouldn't you?
But we actually showcase Six Senses Fiji as one of the properties on there, and it'll really give you an understanding of, it is an incredibly beautiful place, but they're so connected to the people. They're so connected to that harmonious lifestyle with health and wellness as well. And I think the Six Senses villas are some of the most incredible villas you'll ever see.
Why is that? If we're sitting at home listening to this podcast, what's so good about that?
They're all, either on the ocean front or there's some up in the hills. 4 or 5 bedrooms,
really?
Yeah, huge.
So you can have like a family group.
A group of 8 to 10 people staying there. A lot of people actually go there for 40th, 50th, 60th celebrations, weddings even, and it's really fantastic to be able to explore something with a group, in that one intimate location. But it's bigger than my house at home. They're huge, hundreds of square meters per villa, private pools. You have a butler service, you have all these amenities and luxuries, and you're literally looking out at picture perfect water.
And Eugene, just near Six Senses, there's another resort that's really up and coming as well.
Yeah, there is. I was introduced to it by friends of mine. It's also on Malalo Island. It's called Funky Fish, which is quite an amazing name, and I love the name so much. But they're actually planning to redevelop it into focusing a lot more on sustainability in the area. Getting amazing surfers there. There's amazing surf breaks in Fiji, which I think, again, a lot of people don't know so much about. You can go out and explore some amazing surfing in Fiji, which is awesome. So, yeah, Funky Fish, I think that whole area along Malalo, again, it's 45 minutes from the main area.
And just by boat as well.
By
if
boat,
you're not a plane person,
super easy to get there.
Yep.
And again, I'm someone that gets a little bit seasick. It's such an easy journey. You don't get sick at all. It's super quick, super easy. And I think that part of Fiji and the fact that, they're wanting to focus on bringing new life into the area, regenerating, rejuvenating. There's a helipad there that you can access if you need to as well. So also adding in that little bit of extra luxury. Six Senses actually also offer helicopter service as well as a transfer. And so, I think that's going to be really exciting to see what's coming up and what's next in Fiji and what's going to be the next big thing there. I think it's going to be really exciting to see.
Great.
Yeah.
The problem with this podcast series is now I need to go everywhere.
I know. Yeah.
But I think Fiji is particularly special and particularly convenient.
Yes.
But let's go to the next level. And that's Como, which you've also been and stayed at. And this is perhaps an island. Can we talk about how we get there and how it all works?
So Como, touching back, I guess, on Six Senses and getting there, that's a pretty easy trip. It's a 45-minute speedboat from Nandi or Denarau. Yeah, super easy and quite quick and fast. By the time you get there, It's no time at all.
Yeah, that's cool.
So the other ultra luxury property I had the very lovely fortune of going to was Como Lothala. It was originally just called Lothala, but Como took it over, I think about a year or two ago now. It was originally actually bought by the guy that founded Red Bull. It was his private island from 2003 onwards.
Of course it was.
Yeah. So there was actually, I don't know if it's still there. There was a Red Bull submarine there. There was,
Cool.
all of this amazing stuff. It's super private. You can only get there via private plane. So you get a plane from Nandi to the island.
Luxury Escapes will organise all that.
Oh,
you.
yeah. Yes, it's all included in the package. When you stay at a place like that, like any Como property really in the world, they are so next level. When you arrive off the plane, you're welcomed by 20 people that work there. They're doing a big song for you. They're singing. They're playing these instruments.
Stop it.
It's really soul enriching, and it sounds a bit, funny to say.
it.
They actually do the same thing when you leave. And if you don't have a tear in your eye, I'm not a crier, and I almost cried. The whole group was actually really touched by this.
It's an emotional experience.
So emotional. You've had this incredible experience with all the beautiful staff and the people there, and they do this send off and farewell for you, and it's incredible. So yeah, it's still a pretty quick flight. I think it was about 45 minutes to an hour to get there.
Okay, cool.
Via plane. And it's really, again, hard to explain without visually showing, and experiencing what it's like in terms of that
That's
ultra
why
luxury.
everyone needs to go.
100%.
But as you fly over, what do you see?
You see the most incredible water. And again, touching back to the convenience, we talked about the Maldives on this podcast and how incredible the water is there. I think the water almost rivals it in Fiji. In these parts as well, when you go out to the islands, it's that incredible crystal clear blue and green and colours you've really never seen before, stunning water and just the most visually beautiful sights before you when you're flying, and fly into the island. And from the moment you step onto the island, it's super private. There's only sort of a handful of bungalows there on the island. And each of them have their own private pool. When I say bungalow, we were in a 1-bedroom for 2 people bungalow when we stayed, and it was 3 separate huts, these 3 separate buildings for one bungalow.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough to go there for a wedding for my best friend, actually. They hired a few of the bungalows for the wedding specifically. So it was a really incredible once-in-a-lifetime place to go for a special occasion like that. And not just experiencing that island, which, I'll touch on the amazingness of that, but there's so many amazing islands within quite close proximity of that as well.
You can take like a little day
You can
trip.
take a boat out, yeah.
Survivor Island, is that
one of the islands they filmed Survivor on is there. And so we took a little boat across there. I think it was about 20-minute boat ride. And you arrive in this really dense, lush, tropical environment. You can see people would have had to have hacked through the bushes, to make paths. And you go up this amazing windy path and arrive at this incredible waterfall. It's something you've never seen before. And you swim underneath the waterfall and you can jump in off the rock, and an amazing experience.
Jealous. I can't even.
Very, very cool. So, that is not necessarily the most ultra luxury thing, but for me, it's luxury being able to do something like that, right? To be able to access parts of the world and islands you would never be able to see when you go with a place, with someone like Luxury Escapes. You get access to places like this that you never would before. And Como really is known for that ultra luxury, but then also those ultra luxury once in a lifetime experiences too. So it's such a nice mix of things.
And if I don't just want to sit by the pool there, because it sounds like, again, there's a lot to do.
Yes.
You can pop over to one of the floating bars.
Totally.
There's a few things
Yeah.
that Fiji does that are quite unique.
Yeah, definitely. So there's one called Cloud9 that I've been to. I don't know if you've heard of that before, but it's quite famous now. I think it's actually a floating bar in the middle of the ocean, which sounds crazy, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
You literally have to dock from a boat onto this floating massive pontoon. It's double story. There's a big wood-fired pizza oven down the bottom. There's drinks flowing. It's actually quite an amazing party atmosphere as well. So you can bring a group of people there. You can go as a couple. You can sort of go solo as well. That was a really interesting and unique experience to see a bar floating in the ocean. I've never experienced that before, but it was really cool. You can jump off the bar into the water from the second level.
Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I?
Yeah, exactly. Just don't have too many cocktails before you
Get
decide
back
to
up.
do that. Yeah. But that was a really interesting experience, I think, being able to do something like that and see something that you wouldn't necessarily see or think of seeing when you're going on a trip. You'd think, oh, I'm going to go see a floating bar in the ocean. So that was a really, really nice thing to experience as well. And something that another thing that Fiji brings that people probably don't know too much about, it's another element that's there. It's at your doorstep. Go and explore it.
Okay, your top tips then for Fiji. I guess if you're there, say, for that luxe experience.
Yes, yeah. I think go and visit one of the islands for sure. There's so many amazing island experiences and so many beautiful resorts that you have to go and experience off the mainland. I think that's my number one luxury tip is go and explore. Go and stay at a luxury resort. There's actually a place called Liku Liku, which we featured on the show as well, that has overwater bungalows. They were the first hotel in Fiji to have overwater bungalows. So again, you can get that ultra luxury experience, but my number one tip is go and explore it out there. Another tip is to really embrace that Fijian culture, I think. Again, it might not sound like the most luxurious experience, but for me, when I'm traveling, I want to be doing stuff that I would never have been able to do before. Thanks to Luxury Escapes, you can really experience these things where you go and see them and experience them for the first time. And for me, that's luxury, right? I think it doesn't necessarily have to be a 6-star experience. It can be something I've never done before in my life, and that's what you can get in Fiji.
And I think to come home totally fulfilled from your holiday, relaxed and fulfilled.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than coming back from a holiday and needing a holiday, right? I think it's such a great thing. This location, Fiji, is so close to your doorstep. Go and relax for a few days. Go and relax for a few weeks if you want as well. Experience a few different islands, check out the food, check out the amazing culture and the people, and just get lost and immerse yourself.
Eugene, this has been a very fulfilling 20 minutes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Jacqui.
Thanks for listening. Experience more of the world's best holiday destinations with Luxury Escapes, with more inclusions, more value and more expertise. Find and book everything you need, from hotels and resorts to flights, tours, cruises and experiences. Stay up to date with other episodes of Travel in 20 on Spotify, Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. And visit luxuryescapes.com to get more from your next holiday.